So here we see the SAGA user interface. We'll start by just loading up some of our old data from QGIS. So just file, and we made a virtual raster in QGIS, and in SAGA that would be a grid collection. So we just go to load and we browse through our file. We can't see it here, so we need to change this to all files. Gandia Landsat is our dataset. If you double click this, we can see it. Now, SAGA uses an interface where there's a data view and a maps view. So data has got all the raw data, and then you can add data to one or more maps. So here we see our maps, and now we've just got one map and it's got that data set on it. We can see that the image is currently false color, so it's got the wrong bands assigned to it. The sea is a bit reddish. So in here we can see this is the settings for this layer, and we can see that the red is assigned to band 0. And so if you flip this around and apply this, now we've got a better looking color image where at least the sea is blue and the forests are green. Now we can also load our shapefile. So it's in shapes. We do load, and we do the Gandia training data. And if we double click this and we select the same map, then it should plot over the satellite image. And now we see that everything seems to have plotted correctly. And now we can use these two data for our classification. The classification is in imagery, and then there's a classification option. And we'll just start with the standard supervised classification for grids. And so the grids. So first in SAGA, you need to select the grid system. So it's basically the number of pixels by number of pixels and the size. It's a tool to help you work with files of the right size. In this case, there's only one grid system, so select this. Now objects. We need to click this button with the 3 dots on it, and here we can see our virtual raster. So we just move it to the right. So on the left hand side you see the available files, and on the right hand side you've got the files that the algorithm is going to use. So we click OK, and we're going to use this file. And we don't need to worry about normalization. And for classification, it's got this create, so it's going to create this file in memory. And for quality, we're going to ignore the quality of the classification in this case. For training areas, let's pick our shapefile with the training areas, and we made only one attribute in there, so we're just going to use ID, where we put numbers for the different classes, and we're just going to keep the rest to the default options and click OK. And we can see a progress bar here in the bottom left, and we can see that this is going to take a while. Alright, so now the algorithm has finished running, and now in our data view we can see this extra file. This is the classification, so if we double click this, then we can add it to the same map, and then we can see it here. And now it's currently displayed in grayscale. And in this case I suggest just exporting this file and then just doing all the viewing in QGIS. So to export a file in SAGA works by going to geoprocessing, then file, and then grids, export to geotiff, and we should pick the grid system again. We pick the object that we want to export. In this case we want to export the classification, so we move the classification to the right list, and we enter a file name, and we click OK. Click OK, and there it is. Now it's exported, and we can open it in QGIS. So if we go back to QGIS, we will not immediately see our data in our file browser, but if we click this refresh button, it should hopefully show up. So now we can see the classified file in here, so we can just double click it, and now we've loaded the classified file into QGIS, and we can see that it goes from 1 to 4. very similar to, yeah, we had 4 different classes in our original file, so we can basically go to this symbology tab and just add these different classes, so unique values. So let's just classify all of them, and we now have 4 different classes. For some reason it's changed the 0 to a 1, and so now presumably the 1 is going to be the sea, so let's make the sea blue. And what? The next one, forest, urban, and agriculture. So forest, let's make it dark green. Urban, let's make urban areas red. And let's make agriculture sort of yellowish, greenish, light green, something like this, a different color from the forests. And let's see if this makes any sense. Well, that looks pretty good. We can see the sea, the forest areas. Now the urban areas don't seem to be quite right. But that's one of the typical problems with classification. That's ideally you need to make lots of different trading areas for all the different classes and experiment with different algorithms to get the best possible results.